I can't believe I'm actually saying this, but the Five Nights at Freddy's movie actually came out after so many years speculating. I feel like it was like 2015 when they first started talking about a Five Nights movie, and I just can't believe it actually went and saw it at the theater because I just thought it would actually never come out. And apparently it's being very successful now, so we're probably going to be prepared for like sequels in the future, and I'm all for it because honestly, I have to say this is one of the goofiest but also most fun horror movies I've seen in a while. So what I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna talk about the Five Nights movie, like also as a semi-fan, because I was a really big fan of the games when they came out almost a decade ago. I remember playing the first three so many times, just getting scared. And I haven't really caught up with the lore, but I heard the new games are also pretty good, like following in those same kind of footsteps of the first three. So I might try them in the future with the whole Five Nights hype going on again. But I'm going to talk about the movie itself because honestly, I feel like it was good, like in a lot of ways. In other ways, it was just kind of goofy. But I feel like as a Five Nights movie, if you know the context around the games and you just go to have a good time, you are going to enjoy this movie because this really feels like an event, especially with how memeable the whole franchise is and how like there's so many things about the community that are kind of really fun aspects to it. So that is something that I enjoyed about this Five Nights movie because going into the movie, I just felt really awesome. Like a lot of people in the theater were like pointing out at some of the things or like gasping, and it was just fun because you knew that these were Five Nights fans, and that's something that like it's kind of like the context I felt about the movies. So I feel like if you like the games, you're gonna enjoy this one. And yeah, so about the movie itself, like I said before, it's really goofy. Like I would say that it's a good adaptation of the games, especially with the way they treat the main character, the side characters, the actual animatronics, and also the villain, which I'm gonna talk about and go into light spoilers too. But the movie does a really good job balancing all these things. For example, the main character played by Josh Hutcherson is just really fun. I think he's a semi well written character. He's a character who's like going through trauma, going through the loss of his brother, and that has a connection with his new job that he gets as the security guard at the Five Nights location, which is basically the plot of the games, but you don't get really that much context around it. And now this gets like a whole new backstory with his sister, with some of her characters to show up, especially like a cop. I gotta say the cop character was not really that great in my opinion. I feel like that would have been, I feel like that could have gone way better, that whole subplot, but everything else just worked really well. That being said, if you're going into this movie to see some like really grisly kills and like violence like in the style of Saw, you're not gonna get that. It's more like a story surrounding the location and the story behind the animatronics, like with the ghost children, something that is straight out from the games, and I feel like they did a really good job doing that, and especially like the story of the first, I think, 3 or 4 games. And the main villain, played by Matthew Lillard, William Afton, he did such an amazing job. He really like gave life to this character, which is not really shown that much in the games, but here he gets a face and he gets a really good presentation, especially with Matthew Lillard's amazing acting. I feel like he's just basically a legend in horror at this point, and it was great seeing him in this movie. I feel like the entire plot with him, even though it was kind of shorter than I expected, was just really well executed, and it was just fun. Like there's so many scenes in this movie that are just like funny and goofy and like in all the right ways, and that's all I really need from a Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Like if you're not gonna go into this movie and like start analyzing and be like, oh, like all these flaws, I feel like the things that they tried to do and as an adaptation and as an original movie just work really well. So yeah, I think that is just a good movie, and those are pretty much most of my thoughts. I feel like if you're a fan, you're gonna enjoy this movie. If you're not a fan, if you don't have any context at all of what Five Nights at Freddy is, you're probably not gonna like it, and I say that as an objective sense, not as a subjective one. So be prepared for that. I feel like that is important to note because I feel like as a fan, it was just a good movie. But if you're not going to have any context, then yeah, you're probably not going to get all the references and just go out of the theater confused. But anyways, those are pretty much all my thoughts. Honestly, I'm going to give it an 80 out of 100. I feel like it just did a lot of good things. And yeah, I hope to see the sequels in the future because it's just a fun franchise. And that will probably make me go and play the games too. So anyways, those are pretty much all my thoughts. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.